If someone were to ask me to define a mother, I think I would show them a picture of my mother, Dorothy G. Farris. I called her mother, now I call her Mimi. The reason I had such an ideal childhood, for the biggest part, was because of my mom. We were surrounded by friends and family, but my mom was kind of the foundation to our family and how we were formed early. If I tried to define her by words, I'd probably use a godly woman and a servant's heart. She was the one that took us to church 3 times a week. Sometimes she drug us. Sometimes we went more willingly than others. She was our Bible school teacher growing up. People often tell stories about how when I was a little boy and we'd go to church, I wasn't the best at behaving, and they always knew things were going badly when she would pick me up to take me outside to teach me a lesson. And I would be screaming as she took me out, "I'll be good, Mama, I'll be good, I'll be good." But over time, I got better at it, I think, and or she got more tolerant. I'm not sure which. But she, to this day, she reads her Bible daily. In fact, she reads through the Bible every year, and she lives it out. I've watched her walk out her faith for as long as I've been on this earth. She has a prayer list that she keeps by her bedside, and daily she goes down that list. Her servant's heart still continues on to this day. When Sean and I first married, Sean's mother and father had passed away. Her mother had, and her father passed away shortly after we did. So Sean not only got a husband when she married me, she also got my mother as a mom, and I can't thank her enough for that.
Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to the moms and the grandmothers and the great-grandmothers and great-great-grandmothers. And then Happy Mother's Day to those who don't have the title of mom in their life. But you're a woman, and God created you in His image to be His image bearer and bring life. I want to tell you a little bit about my story, and that I was born to a mom who couldn't keep me. She was young, and so God picked out parents for me, and He chose me for them and them for me. And so I was adopted when I was a week old, and my parents were awesome. My mom was amazing, loving. They were solid Christians, brought me up in church, and it was just a great way to be brought up. And my mom, who did not birth me physically, birthed me spiritually and gave life to me. As I thought about all the way back in my life, and then I thought about other women who have given life to me over the years. One of them was my grandmother. I would go spend summers with her. She taught me how to make oven-baked toast, buttered toast. It was the best. And Barbie clothes and take long walks in the piney woods. And I spent so much time with her as a child. And she gave me life. And then I had another woman I called Granny Wilkins, and she was our next door neighbor. And she spent time with this 4-year-old girl to give my mom a break. And she was awesome. Then as I got older, I had another neighbor who taught me how to knit. She didn't have a daughter of her own, so she kind of adopted me as well. I remember my times with Marilyn, and they were great. And then God brought life to me through my pastor's wife, who was my Sunday school teacher. And she really put real life in my heart and in my mind, because she had me memorize so many scriptures growing up. And I've hid God's word in my heart, and it's alive in me. And then there were other women as I grew older who brought life to me. One was an English teacher my senior year in high school. And I wrote about not being related to anyone by blood, and that that I missed that. I felt like there was something missing in my life. And she sat me down after I wrote that paper, and she just told me that God had adopted me into his family. And that family was so much more real than any biological family could be. And so she brought life to me as well. Then as time passed, I was out in my career, and I took a job at our church. And the day I started, our pastor's wife again sent me some flowers. And in there was a card, and it said, "You are a difference maker." And 20 some odd years later, that still sticks with me, that she saw that in me and she brought life to me. And so I have determined to be a difference maker when I'm around others and to bring life to them, because Jenny told me that. It doesn't take a lot, but you can bring life to people. God created you to bring life, women. It's in your DNA. He made you this way as his image bearer.
My mother got cancer when I was 10 years old. She was a single parent. And during that time, there was a young couple at my church. As a matter of fact, it was the associate pastor and his wife. And they stepped up to the plate and invited me to come live in their home. And I was so grateful that they did that. I was nervous at first. I didn't really know them. But you know what they did for me? They loved me, and they cared for me, and they supported me during this really difficult time that I was going through. They stepped in that role of mother, and that was such an awesome thing. And I'm so glad that God spoke to their hearts. I'm so glad that they said yes to him. You know, I wasn't there that long. I was there less than a year. It's a pretty long time when you're newlyweds to have someone in your home for months. But even those several months that I was there, it made such a godly impact on my life. It still affects me even today, the time that I spent with them and the love that they showed me. Anyway, I just think it's so marvelous when God calls people to step in to someone's life and fill that role of mother. You don't have to be their mother. You don't even have to have ever been a mother at all. You just have to have that heart of a mother. And here it is, 40 years later. And you know what? God has given me opportunity to step in and fill that role of mother for someone else. For my sweet Phoebe. Isn't God marvelous?
Happy Mother's Day!